going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So in this video, we're going to talk all about the glutes, how to shape them, how to tone them, how to lift them and grow them, and basically just have a full-blown glute transformation. So with that being said, I am going to share with you my 5 favorite must-do booty building exercises. But first, I really do want to talk about nutrition and activation. You can be doing all the right things in the gym, but if you're not doing these things that I'm going to talk about, you will not see the results that you're looking for. So I used to overlook this back in the day, and it definitely transformed my results once I started implementing this tactic. So before we jump into our workouts, we should always be activating the muscle that we're going to be working. So a lot of us might be sitting throughout the day, you might have a desk job, you might be working, and when you're sitting all day, your glutes get essentially deactivated. So they are not used to working, they are not used to firing up. So before we go into the gym and try to work them, we need to let them know, hey, you need to work. And so we don't want to tire them out, we don't want to do a bunch of things to fatigue them before we actually begin the workout, but you do want to give them a burn, you do want to give them a little bit of a wake up, if you will, so that you can get the results you're looking for. So my personal, like I said, workouts, everything completely changed when I implemented activation movements for my glutes, and it's just so critical. I cannot stress it enough how much it really truly helped me, and it can help you too if you're not doing it. So I will share in this video, though, when I talk about my 5 favorite exercises, I will show you 2 activation movements, the ones that I did for this workout. There's tons of different ones that you can do. Having some resistance bands are really helpful, and you can just kind of get creative with it. And as I'll talk about later in this video, you really just want to make sure you're getting a burnout and just kind of feeling that the muscle engaging before you really start training your glutes. So I also want to talk a little bit about nutrition. So you cannot be eating like a bird and expect your muscles or your butt or anything to grow or to tone or to be shaped, I guess. So my rule of thumb, if you don't want to track macros, is really just be watching your protein intake. Most people do not get enough protein, especially if you've never actually tracked or been conscious of how much protein you're consuming. You're probably not getting nearly enough. My general rule of thumb is to get 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So for someone that was 120 pounds, they would want to get between, roughly between 95 and 120 grams of protein every single day. I personally don't think you need any more than that. There are different opinions out there. I think more than that is just excessive, and it can put a little bit of stress on your kidneys and stuff like that. But yeah, I think 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight is a great rule of thumb, and I have been able to transform my entire body doing that much protein. So protein is really critical, and also just getting an adequate amount of healthy carbs, healthy fats, and just don't cut anything out of your diet. That's, I guess, what I'm trying to say, is really make sure you're fueling your body, eat till you're hungry. I just recently talked about this in my last video, fat loss mistakes that people make. But it really is important, especially when you're trying to build muscle. You have to be fueling your body, fueling your muscles. And like I said, you can be just busting your butt in the gym and having great workouts, but your muscles don't actually grow until you are in the recovery process. So at the gym is when you tear your muscles apart, and when you're home, resting, eating, doing things like that, that is when they're building back together, and they won't build back together stronger unless you're doing the proper things, which is eating the proper food, eating enough protein, and getting enough rest, which is what I'm going to talk about now. So training your glutes 2 or 3 times a week, in my opinion, is absolutely plenty in order to see amazing results. Any more than that, especially me personally, I've just noticed over the years, if I do even 3 glute workouts a week is too much for me. And the reason, or the way that I know it's too much for me, is because I'm not able to finish my workout at the gym, I'm not able to lift as much weight, and I can just tell that I am more tired, more fatigued, and I'm not getting the same benefit. I would rather get 2 really, really good lower body workouts every single week than do 4 and they all kind of suck because I'm just too tired and weak. So resting is really, really important. I could do a whole video just on rest and recovery, but the whole point is, don't feel like you have to train your glutes 4, 5, 6 times a week. It's actually totally not even gonna help you in the end. You really wanna make sure you are resting enough, eating enough. Obviously go hard with your workouts, but make sure everything you're doing when you're not in the gym is supporting those goals. So with all of that being said, let's get to the gym and share with you guys my top 5 must-do booty building exercises. Okay, so here's a couple examples of some glute isolation workouts. This is just a couple that I usually do. You can switch them up every now and again, but it's totally fine to keep the same ones as well. So like I said, having resistance bands really does help. It kind of helps you to feel the burn, especially if you are more quad dominant like I am. So it will help you to feel the burn more in your glutes, of course, versus your quads. Like, you're not going to feel these movements in your quads at all. If you don't have resistance bands, I would highly recommend getting the fabric ones like I'm using here, just because the rubber ones, they can snap easier, they roll up on your legs, and especially if you're wearing like shorts, they're just not as comfortable. So now moving into the actual workout, hip thrusts, I talk about these all the time, but this is my #1 favorite workout for glute building. And the reason it's my favorite is because you are not using any other muscles really to lift this weight except for your glutes and your hamstrings, versus squats and lunges where you are using your quads as well. So this is my personal favorite exercise for building the glutes. Okay, for the second exercise, we are doing Romanian deadlifts. So there's different kinds of deadlifts, and they're all really great for building the glutes, but I personally feel the most contact in my glutes with this form or this style of deadlift. I know some people really like sumo deadlifts where it's a wider stance and your toes are pointed outward, but for me personally, this is my favorite. So you can use a barbell, dumbbells, or whatever your gym has, but this is definitely a great glute building exercise. Next, we have sumo squats. So these also can be done in many different ways. You can actually use the barbell with these and do them heavier. You can use dumbbells. You can use all sorts of different things. I love using the kettlebells for this. I wish my gym did have heavier ones, but I think 35 pounds is the heaviest that they have, so I'll just do typically like higher reps with it. But I feel this so much in my glutes, and you will obviously get a little bit of a quad workout, but it is mainly glutes, especially if you have a wide stance. Okay, so next is step-ups. This is another thing that can be done in different ways. You can use the Smith's machine for this. I personally like to use dumbbells with it, but that's just my preference. So when you are coming back up to the top of the box or whatever you're stepping on, you just want to make sure you're only using that leg that's on the box. You're not using the bottom leg to push yourself up. So it assures that you're doing the work from your leg and your glute that's supposed to be working, and you're not making it easier on yourself. So this is definitely another one of my favorites, and you can mess around with different weights, of course, and different heights of boxes will make it more challenging, but yeah, this is another really good one. Okay, so for the last of my favorite exercises, this is just stationary lunges. These are great because if you do them with a barbell like this, you are also engaging your core and other muscles at the same time. But I do still feel the burn a lot in my glutes and in my hamstrings, and you can also do these again in many different ways, but I do love the stationary lunges for the purpose of heavier weight. So there's just one more thing that I want to touch on as far as glute growth goes, or really trying to build any muscle in the gym, and it's focusing on progressive overload. So you don't always have to switch up your workouts every single week. Like, you can stick to a 4 or 6 week program. You just need to make sure that you are putting a challenge on your muscles every single week. So you could do that by upping your reps, upping your weight, or lowering your rest periods. So every single week, I always focus on doing one of those 3 things. So for an example, if you're doing hip thrusts, you want to either add weight. So even if that's only 2.5 pounds on each side of the bar, just progressing and pushing your muscles a little bit more than you did the week prior. So adding weight, or if you feel like you can't add weight, then up your reps, even if it's just 1 or 2 reps, or lower your rest periods if you feel like you can't do either one of those things. So even if you lower your rest period by 10 or 15 seconds, it's just, the whole point is making sure you are pushing yourself a little bit harder every single week and challenging your muscles to do more than they did previously. So there's kind of a lot of misconceptions where people assume that you have to always do a new workout every single week, and you definitely don't. You do want to stick to the basics. You want to stick to the compound movements, squats, lunges, deadlifts, hip thrusts, and just obviously all the workouts that I shared in this video. So sticking to those, sticking to the compound movements and focusing on improving those and being able to lift more with those, and again, just improving in those workouts is really going to help you and help you to see results. There is nothing wrong with switching up your workouts. I do like to switch up my workouts all the time, but I still do stick to all of the movements I shared in this video. I'll just use different pieces of equipment to do those workouts. So really important that you're progressing every single week in one way or another. And yeah, so if you're doing that, your nutrition is on point, you're getting enough protein, you're activating your glutes, and you're staying consistent, you will see results. I will say, you know, everyone's body is different, genetics are different, and some people do have an easier time building glutes or certain muscles more than other people. But if you stick to these and you use these tactics consistently, you will see results and you will have a transformation. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative. Please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It helps support my channel so much. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one.